Okay, guys, this is me trying to fill in the part that didn't get recorded. Ooh, this needs to be bigger. Let's see if I can do that. See if I can move this thing. Sorry, guys. I don't want it to be bigger. Anyway. Okay, I think that'll work a little better. But now I'm having trouble. I haven't used Screencast-O-Matic in a while, so you guys. Try to remember how to get it to. Oh, there we go. Whoa. Okay. All right. So this is we're starting off looking at the spine, okay, which is the boiled down to the essence of what we've had in the class so far that you requested, which I should have done, I think, before the midterm. But here it is now, and I hope it meets your needs. So just to get us thinking about skeletons, I asked in class who this was, and I got some very fast answers. Jack Skellington. That is absolutely right. From The Nightmare Before Christmas. A fabulous, brilliant movie by Tim Burton, with the great music from Danny Elfman. And of course, today is November 4th, so it's just a few days, 4 days, whatever, past Halloween, where we see lots of skeletons like that. But we're not here to talk about the whole skeleton. That's the point. So not only are we, boiling off the extraneous, loose things from the lectures, we're not even using the whole skeleton. We're only using the spine. What is the spine of this class so far? And this is it. There's sort of an umbrella, a couple of items, marketing principles that I use for all my classes. And I put that up at the top. The first one is building the message, which is basically the Tabasco copy strategy, which is the foundation for any kind of advertising communication. You need to know who you're talking to and what you're saying about the product and what sort of brand character you're communicating, and if you're communicating an offer or not. And then the idea of empathy is also kind of core to this idea of building a message. To be successful at building effective communications, you need to empathize with the target customer and understand what it's like to walk in her shoes. And then to analyze any communications, you need to also try to reverse engineer and understand the Tabasco, the copy strategy it was built from, and then evaluate it based on what the target customer would think of it. Will it be effective or will it not? Then, of course, the purchase funnel, which in a way is the spine for everything we do in marketing. It goes back to this basic idea of what we want customers to do. We want them to buy from us, and we want them to be loyal customers. That's it. Everything we do in marketing, one way or another, has something to do with that. Okay, so then we talk about direct, and first we kind of define how it's different, what makes it different, branding. Of course, the one key, very important thing is that direct is about action. It's about having people actually do things. Branding is about feelings. Direct is about action. You all know that the three principles of direct marketing, database, offers, and the idea of being able to measure results, and that the results are not only measurable, but that they're accountable, meaning that they bring in money. They have a financial impact on the company that can be measured. Because everything with direct is about dollars and cents and making money from your marketing efforts and being able to attribute specific sales to things you do in marketing. And those are the three principles of direct marketing. Those are the 3 points that make a plane, as we know from geometry, and 3 legs to a stool. You can't sit on a stool with 2 legs, but when you have 3 like this, it can be pretty solid. Now this one, I decided to take a different look at boiling things down. And here I just tried to come up with words almost the way I do with Tabasco. And these are the words. I think almost everything we've talked about so far fits under one of these words. And you can see it's data, analysis, communications, offers, optimization, and measurement. Now, when I did this earlier today for the class, when I didn't record it, I do think, looking at this, that measurement and analysis might be able to be further boiled down and merged into one thing. But I'll have to think about that some more. I encourage you to take screenshots of this and just keep it, maybe think about it, and also of this. Now this spine is the one I asked you in class to make a copy of and then keep track as we go through the rest of the presentation this morning, because we're going to be following this exactly. And this will show you that, I'm not just sort of plunging around talking about different topics. It all has to do with this spine. So if you're watching this now, I'd encourage you to do the same thing. Make a copy of this, and so you can watch, how it's tracking as we move through. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing is communications and the copy strategy. And we talked about reverse engineering the strategy by looking at an ad. And we talked about the copy strategy template that I want you to use in my class used to be Tabasco, but we added call to action as a separate item. So it's got 2 C's, and we're going to make it a Tabasco. So every piece of marketing communications needs to be based on a strategy. You need to know who you're talking to and what you want to say, and what sort of character you're going to show for the brand. And so that's Tabasco. The other thing I wanted you to use is empathy. Empathy is becoming a very big word these days. It must be the word of 2020, empathy. It has to do with lots of things that are going on right now. But when we bring it up, yes, we're looking at the larger meaning of the word, for your life and for your relationships and for humanity and your humanity. But it's also a marketing tool, because to be able to talk to someone, you need to understand them. Okay. By the way, part of understanding is to do the analysis of the psychographics and the demographics. This is the purchase funnel. It's a nice, new, attractive slide on the purchase funnel. And so these are the second really big marketing principle I like to talk to all my classes about. So everything we do in all marketing is to try to move people down this funnel, and particularly in direct. Okay, so now we're going to talk about direct specifically. It's different from branding. Here's one way, very important way, and the branding raises awareness and interest, so it's really working up at the top of the funnel, awareness, consideration, preference. But direct marketing needs to get people to buy. So it always has an offer. Often has a time limit on the offer. It often has a call to action. So do this, go to the website, go to the store, call this number. I think to give you a picture of how the two are different, branding and direct, nothing could be clearer than this. Just the look and the tone of the ads. One of them is, has a brass band marching up and down, and the other one is, quietly slinking around the corner. They're very, very different in terms of what they're trying to get accomplished. And remember, direct is always about moving getting somebody to take action, to move them down the purchase funnel, move them to buy the product. So, staying with the topic of what is direct, direct always has to have these three components: database, offer, measurability, accountability. And now we're going to talk about each of those. And the first thing to understand is the database is the heart. And the heart in our body has blood without oxygen in it, because it's given the oxygen to the cells that need them for life. And once it's depleted of oxygen, it goes back to the heart, and it gets enriched with oxygen, and it goes back out to bring more life. And so this is kind of what we see with a database, because information goes in, transactional information, to a large degree. What you bought, how much you spent, when you bought it, how you paid for it. Transactional information goes in. Inside the database, there's already a lot of information that's been analyzed about you. And then this new information is added, and it's all stirred around again. And what comes out are targeted communications and offers to build loyalty with our customers. These are the kind of data that go in, transactional data like a receipt. And what goes out are targeted communications. Okay. I like definitions. Here's the definition of a database. Not just a marketing database, but a database. A collection of pieces of information that is organized and used on a computer. And in the larger database presentation I did a few weeks ago, we looked at pictures of old databases of cuneiform writing, which is like a chopstick being pressed into clay, making different shapes, which was done to keep track of things, like in a warehouse. Or an abacus can be used that way too. Remember, abacuses with the beads, everything that slide around. And in the old days, that basically was a database. It was just a way to store information, but never really do anything with the information, never analyze it, never learn anything from it. And eventually, for direct marketing, you could print mailing labels from the database. And that was sort of an in-between step, and then eventually there's some mailing things going on with mailings, catalogs. And eventually we're up to today where the database is continually updated. It's all digital, all electronic, all real-time. And more and more data about more and more things is being collected everywhere. And this really is kind of the thrust, or the zeitgeist, the middle of our time right now, is the world of data and big data and what's happening with it. And as more and more information is gathered, computing power is increased, and lots more data times lots more computing power equals new types of knowledge being possible, because analyses can be done looking for relationships between dependent and independent variables, and we can find out what causes certain kinds of cancer, things that we wouldn't have thought of or been able to know before. Watson is IBM's sort of supercomputing artificial intelligence, and that kind of power and analysis is being applied all over the place, and it's just going to get more and more and more. It's really a big story of our age, the information age. It's not the brass age or the copper age, or the bronze age, I should say. It's the information age. Speaking of data, Facebook generates so much data. We sometimes don't even realize the amount of information that's being generated today. 4 petabytes of data per day from Facebook, 1 million gigabytes. And they store it in something they call a Hive, which is sort of like their own cloud, I guess, which contains about 300 petabytes of data. I mean, it's staggering. By the way, Facebook has to do all this data storage and all this electronic access we all have to our data, and they don't charge anything for it. But it has a big cost. But wait a minute, maybe they do charge? We think about it for a minute. I'm going to stop and